Today I'm planting two beautiful Limelight Hydrangeas, and I want to share as many details in case you've been thinking about adding some of these gorgeous plants in your yard. A Limelight Hydrangea is a Hydrangea Paniculata that is very cold hardy. It grows in zones 3 through 9. Whoa, you probably can grow this even if you get winters down to -40 degrees Fahrenheit. And people like me who live in hot subtropical zones can still grow these. The blooms have very persistent lime green and white flower clusters throughout the summer, and towards the end of their bloom they can also turn a little pink, and then the blooms start drying out and they also look pretty cool. I have a video that talks about the differences between the common mophead hydrangea and the limelights, because those are two very popular hydrangeas, so I'll put that in the description if you want to watch that video. But sunlight is one of those big differences. Now, I have to warn you that the hotter the climate, the bigger break the hydrangeas need from the harsh evening sun. So I'm going to show you 3 different areas of my garden that I contemplated where I could put my hydrangeas, and I'm going to explain the difference between the locations and why I ended up choosing the location that I finally did. I originally wanted to put another hydrangea across from this one because this one is doing so great and it just looked great design-wise. But when I went down the fence, I realized that the area where I really wanted the hydrangeas was not going to work because the conditions are different. Just because one plant is next to another one does not mean that it's going to get the same conditions. On this side of the fence, it gets sun from about noon all the way to sunset, and that could be 7:30, 8 o'clock, which means it's going to get about 6 to 8 hours of sun during the hottest part of the day. This is not going to work out for the hydrangeas. The second location that I thought was behind the fence. We still have property that goes to the back, and this is a little path that I created, by the way, and it's a DIY project that if you want to make, I also have a video that you can watch to do that. But if you look to the right, there are 2 Hydrangea Paniculatas as well. These are called Moon Dance Hydrangea. They really love it here because they get dappled sun all day long. So even though they're getting probably 9 hours of sun, it's always protected by some sort of trees. This location number 2 would work, except that I already have some hydrangeas there, so I decided to go back to the other side of the fence. Right around 11:30-ish, it will start getting some sun. So then the sun will come through just kind of like that, and then it'll go all the way to about 4:30. But then the house right there and the fence starts giving it protection around 4:30. Basically, they're going to get between 5 and 6 hours of sun, which is exactly what they like. Let's talk about how we're going to space these plants. So typically they like to grow anywhere from 6 to 8 feet tall. That's their standard size. The really cool thing about the limelights is that you can trim them because they grow on new wood, meaning that every spring they're going to have new shoots, and out of those new shoots they're going to have new blooms. If you prune them at the right time, you're probably going to be safe to manage the size that you want. So for example, I want them to grow probably to the fence, not much bigger than that. I just want them to be a big showy plant about 6 feet tall, because that's how tall the fence is. So if they start getting any taller, I probably will want to trim them. So you can keep them to the size that you want. If you want them 5 feet tall, you could probably do that as well. So you also have to plan for the space around the plant if you know that the end goal is to be about 6 feet tall. So what I'm saying is that I'll want to give it 3 feet this way, if I can, 3 feet that way, which looks like right now I'm not about 3 feet. You probably could do 2.5 feet, 2 feet if you want to. They'll start kind of touching the fence, but it'll be okay. I have other plants right here. This is a clematis on both sides. That'll be okay because so long as the top of them get sun, they don't mind having a little bit more shaded bottom. And these ones are annuals, so next year I can scoot them over on this side a little bit more so that they have plenty of space to grow. This is a kumquat tree in the middle, and I'm hoping that they do well together. So this is how I imagine that they're going to grow into. The kumquat is going to be about 8 feet tall eventually, so hopefully they'll do well together. Also, this is going to take about 2 or 3 years for it to get, pretty large. Hydrangeas like to have good drainage. I have sandy soil, so that's definitely good for drainage, but because it does drain fast, it also tends to lose its nutrients. So if you have soil like mine, amend it with manure or fertilizer every single year. I usually like to use Black Cow and a slow release fertilizer in the beginning of the year. If you have clay soil that doesn't drain properly, you may need to use something like gypsum. So gypsum helps with soil aeration and therefore with drainage. So just be careful, because if you add too much gypsum, you could deplete it from its nutrients. So make sure that you read the label of any product that you may buy that has gypsum, so that you can make sure that your hydrangea is performing well. Hydrangeas also like to have acidic soil, and here where I live, we have lots of pine trees, and we use pine straw commonly for mulch, which is pretty much acidic, and they love that. So if you live in an area that is not acidic, you have an arid, or you live in the mountains or a rocky area and your soil is more alkaline, then you might need a soil acidifier, something like amir acid or a halotone or a zaleatone. That would probably help you to acidify the soil. So when you plant, keep in mind that you want to make the hole bigger than the size of the pot and about the same depth. And I always use some sort of plant starter, such as this one. So voila, here you have your Limelight hydrangeas, and I can't wait to see them grow and see what they're doing. And hey, if you've liked this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up and watch these other videos that I've got for you for more information on hydrangeas and other types of plants that you can put in your garden. Because remember that you can create bliss in your garden.